Keely, what's the safe word?
No! Kamran, stop. The safe word is Kamran.
So I saved $90,000 on a subscription. There was kind of a lot of us just like trolling around in youth hostels, waiting for the financial industry to come back. I think one of the big parts of me like developing that muscle as an entrepreneur was my parents telling me I couldn't do a lot of things, and then realizing that if I just got away with it, they would never know.
Hi, welcome to Basement Dwellers, the show where we keep it real with CEOs and talk to them about their lives before they made it. We're joined here today with my former boss and CEO of NerdWallet, Tim Chen. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I think you're not quite a basement dweller. I feel like you went to Stanford and then became an investment banker. Was there ever a period of time of your life that you were a basement dweller or a dorm dweller, just kind of below the radar?
Yeah, I mean, when I started NerdWallet, I definitely felt like a basement dweller. I had just gotten fired, lost a bunch of money in the stock market during the stock market crash.
That's a double whammy.
Yeah, and then so I ended up eventually like moving in with my girlfriend and mooching off her health insurance plan.
Okay.
Believe it or not, you can do that.
Yeah, I thought you had to be married for that.
No, you don't.
So NerdWallet, your inception period was in your girlfriend's apartment.
Yes, and I would stay up many late nights watching internet TV and working while her and her sister in this converted one-bedroom apartment in the West Village were like working and going to work the next day.
Okay, so still on the fringes of housing, I think, as most people have to be when they're starting. One thing I've always been curious about, when you were starting NerdWallet, you went, I think, 3 years with no revenue, aka no personal income.
Yeah.
So I know you lived with your then girlfriend, but I'm very curious, did you have any cost-saving tips as far as extending that personal run rate?
I would order like the 555 deal from Domino's all the time.
Yeah.
And you basically get 3 medium pizzas for like $17 or something after tax. And that lasts you like 6 meals. So I would do that all the time.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
I could not eat Domino's for more than 2 meals straight.
This was before Domino's like improved their crust to be like all garlicky and delicious too.
I feel like there's better deals. Like you could have 6 of those instant ramens, and I would rather have that than Domino's 6 meals straight.
I don't metabolize it the same anymore. So I only do it like once a month now.
Are you a big fast food person? Do you eat?
I used to get McDonald's basically 6 days a week.
You did not, really?
For breakfast, yeah.
You eat 6 days a week McDonald's breakfast?
Yeah.
That's just like gross.
Yeah, and then after work I would do the dollar menu, like the cheeseburger and the spicy chicken.
Do you have any guilty pleasures money-wise? Is there something that you kind of like, now that you have a little more money, you're like, oh, okay, I buy avocados on my sandwiches, kind of thing?
Yeah, I really think I spend a crazy amount of money on Uber Eats. So
the delivery, I'll get you.
Oh yeah, like sometimes I'll have 2 or 3 orders showing up at the same time because I just feel like I have to have like ice cream and this like snow ice and sushi at the same time.
Okay, so you multitask on Uber Eats, just
yes.
not in real life, but on Uber Eats you can multitask. So I want to go back with you before NerdWallet, before Stanford, way back when you were a kid. I did some research and it turns out that you sold magic cards and coins out of a catalog, to remote various parts of the U.S., which, I read Mark Cuban did a similar thing with stamps. So I'm very curious, can you talk a little bit about that? How did you get started? Did you make good money? What's that like?
Yeah, I think I've always had the ambition to have a bit of a hustle going on. And so growing up, especially in middle school, I didn't get a very good allowance and I couldn't get a lot of things I wanted, so I was always looking for ways to make an extra $5 here or there. The magic cards really started from seeing that you could buy packs of cards and sell individual cards for a markup on average. So I did some of that.
Did you start this on your own, or did you join an existing outfit?
Oh, this was really small scale. I did it like within the school because there's so many kids playing Magic at the time. But the coin thing was a different animal. I mean, that really started when eBay came around. And so, the way I got that idea, I was actually taking a part-time job working in this guy's basement on a mail order coin catalog. And I saw that he was making huge margins selling coins all over the country. So I figured, why not run the same business on eBay? So I started buying my own coins on the side and selling them to various people.
How old were you?
This was when I was 15 or 16.
Did you have any bad jobs? Did you ever were you ever like a dishwasher or waiter or anything like that?
Yeah, a few. I was a busboy at a restaurant in Atlanta.
Okay. What restaurant?
It's called Grand China. It's in Buckhead.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I was not very good at it.
Being a busboy, I feel like
Yeah.
the skill set is somewhat limited. What were you bad at it? Did you drop plates?
Yeah, well, I did once, but you have to remember a lot of things at once. You walk by 4 tables, someone wants water, someone wants an orange, someone wants lime. You forget stuff, and then people get mad at me.
So Tim Chen, brilliant investment banker, CEO, struggles as busboy. I want to talk about in high school. I talked to your NerdWallet co-founder, Best Man at Your Wedding, I think,
Yeah, that's
Jake
right.
Gibson. He told me, I knew you're nerdy, but I didn't know quite how nerdy. So you were math team, Science Olympiad,
Yep.
National Science and Engineering Design,
Yep.
NSED, and lesser known Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you just like lived your whole life stuffed in a locker or however that worked, but that's quite the resume for a nerdy high school student.
Yeah.
So I guess, I was asking with some of those stories. One thing I heard that was interesting is you actually kind of went to a Science Olympiad competition after an all-nighter and still managed to win some events. You talk about that a little bit?
I remember that was, it was kind of like a rough night out the night before, and we had a Science Olympiad competition the next morning, so I kind of limped in, and a lot of the parents involved in Science Olympiad had done a great job training us for the events in the weeks leading up to that. So I remember doing like a physics lab with like a pendulum, and
What do you have to do? Do you have to make a pendulum?
you had to measure the speed of the ball using like lights and timers and stuff, and yeah, it was.
But you couldn't be a busboy. It's still baffling
Yeah.
to me. I feel like there's a lot of multitasking in the pendulum equation still.
Yeah, I'm still bad at multitasking.
All right, so you went to school in Atlanta, which has become like the center of hip hop. So if you'll permit me, I want to quiz some of your Atlanta hip hop knowledge.
Oh wow. Okay.
You think you'll do good?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll start a little further back. Can you name the 3 Outkast songs that hit #1 on the Billboard?
I think probably Rosa Parks.
Yep. There's one really big one that you got to get.
I Like the Way You Move. Is that the name of the song?
It's not, but that's the right song.
Okay. And then is ATLians?
Hey Ya.
Oh yeah.
You gotta get Hey Ya.
Great song. Yeah.
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 Can you name any Lil Yachty songs?
Who?
Lil Yachty.
Who?
So you don't even know Lil Yachty. What about Gucci Mane? He's a little further
Yeah.
back.
Gucci Mane. He's got some song about a bag, holding a bag right now.
He does talk about holding the bag, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't listen to Gucci Mane back in the day. He's
Okay.
prolific though. He's got a bunch of stuff.
So not quite Atlanta, still Southern hip hop. 281-330-8004. Do you know whose number that is?
I have no idea.
Who is Mike Jones? You got that's
Mike
like,
Jones?
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones?
Yeah. So you know Mike Jones.
I know
You
Mike
just-
Jones.
You got to know his number. All right. So not hip hop. What was your scene like? What was the first CD you ever bought?
The first cassette I ever bought was Stone Temple Pilots' Purple, and then at that same day I bought an Aerosmith cassette. So yeah, those were my two first cassettes.
Dating yourself here.
Yeah.
What about first concert you ever went to?
Pearl Jam.
Okay, I know them. That's a little bit of the Venn diagram overlap in our music taste. Now, one thing I want to ask you about, so being at NerdWallet, you've had some fun exposure to celebrities. Joe Montana is an investor, and I know Terrell Owens was on TV talking about NerdWallet. So are you just recruiting like Bay Area greats for funsies?
No, I mean both of them just happened to meet through friends. So yeah, one of my friends knows Joe Montana. Another one is actually T.O.'s agent now. He used to be like he's my buddy from college. We were roommates in New York, and then he represents Eric Dickerson and T.O. now.
So you've met them both personally, both T.O. and Joe Montana?
Not Joe Montana. I talked to Joe Montana on the phone.
Okay. What was that like?
Yeah, that was cool. He introduced himself as Joe, and he used to play football.
I'm Joe. I used to play football.
Yeah.
What about T.O.? What was he like?
Oh man, I had so many questions for T.O.
I would have so many as well.
Yeah, I asked him about the permanent marker thing.
Yeah, I do.
You remember that?
Yeah, well, tell the story. So
yeah, so he like scored a touchdown and then like pulled a permanent marker out of his sock, signed the football, and then threw it into the crowd, right? And then I was like, well, what's the inspiration behind that? And yeah, I guess he was he just like randomly got the idea. I think there was someone in the stands that he was talking to before the game, and then he saw a permanent marker and just grabbed it like on the way out for that play. He thought he was going to score a touchdown, so lo and behold.
Have you ever met Mark Cuban?
No.
He's one of my big business idols.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a big business idol like that's above the rest?
You know, like I would love to meet Jack Ma. Okay. So apparently, like his role model is Forrest Gump, which I find really funny. But the thing I find amazing about Jack Ma, like I had just assumed that like, you know, this really successful business mogul in China would have like huge connections in the government and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But it turns out he was just like an English teacher, and the reason he was like super well positioned is his first company was translating websites to English for like these tiny mom and pop suppliers in China, and he converted that into like Alibaba, which connects like small manufacturers and big manufacturers in China with like Western companies, right? And you're like, how did an English teacher turn into like the most successful business person in China?
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like an amazing story.
That is really cool.
Yeah, and he's like super he's super into this like belief that like anybody can do it, and I think that's what I find so inspirational about him.
Part of why I did this show, and tell me if you think this is true, but I feel like a lot of people I meet, specifically in tech, but CEOs, they still kind of view themselves as a normal person. You're still using broccoli rubber bands for your credit cards, but then they create something great, and there becomes this really like what I call gurufication and like this really high level deference. And I feel like most people at your level are still like, hey, I'm just an ordinary person.
Yeah, you know, that gurufication really pisses me off actually, because like I think the thing I love about Jack Ma is just like he's just an ordinary guy, and he did a bunch of things and then he got where he is, and anyone else can do it too. And I think like believing that there's like some caste system or some class system that allows you not to do that is the reason a lot of people don't try.
Yeah.
That just really bugs me.
Well, I think that's all for today. Really appreciate you coming by. I think that, you know, learned a lot of good things. So, you know, good to talk with you. If I ever meet Jack Ma, I'll tell him I have his #1 fan next to me.
All right.
All right. Good meeting you.
Yeah. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah.